Dear aspirant, here I am going to discuss some special technique on calculating average. I invite your attention to a classroom. Here, first bench, 4 students. I am asking each one's weight. First person, her name is, say, Ria. What is your weight? So, Ria may respond. So, 35 kilogram. Okay. Now, the second person, her name is Ria. What is your weight, Ria? So, it is 42 kilogram. Now, a third person, Robin, 43 kilogram. And fourth one, Shruti, whose weight is 36 kilogram. Now, we want to calculate average weight of these 4 persons. What we will do? We just add all these numbers and then divide these numbers by 4. That is the case of finding average. So, the calculation is here 35 plus 42 plus 43 plus 36 divided by 4. This is called simple average of that 4 numbers. Now, I am focusing on a special way, that is a variation method from any one of the value. Just we can assume that any one of the value as our answer. For a convenience, I take 40 as answer. So, 40, if 40 is my answer, means the first person Ria, second person Rima, third Robin, and fourth Shruti, all are 40 kilogram weight. Then it is very clear, my average is also 40. If each and every person's weight is equal to 40, then only my average is 40. But it is not like that. First person Ria, but her weight is only 35, means her weight is minus 5 than that of our assumption. So, I record the variations. Minus 5 in the case of first person, plus 2 in the case of second person, plus 3 in the case of third person, and minus 4 in the case of last person. So, actually their weights are varies from that 40, and that variation I denote here. Here minus 5 plus 2 plus 3 together it is plus 5, so they cancel. What remaining? Remaining of minus 4 in sum. So, we can say this is minus 4. So, that minus 4 affect on average, but that minus 4 is not directly affected into average, because that minus 4 is the variation for 1, 2, 3, 4 students. There are 4 students, 1, 2, 3 and 4. This variation in 4 is for sum. The variation is in sum, not in average. So, we need to find variation in average. So, variation in average, variation in sum, you know, variation in sum is equal to, variation in sum is equal to minus 4. That minus means it is smaller, lesser than that of the original assumption. But variation in average, actually we can find variation in average. So, this minus 4 should be distributed among these 4 members. So, that variation in average is minus 4 by 4, which is equal to minus 1. So, we can simply say the variation in average is minus 1. What is your assumption? What was your assumption? Your assumption was 40 kilogram. So, our answer should be not 40, but 40 minus that variation in average, that is minus 1. 40 minus 1, which is equal to 39. Okay. Now, the case is very simple. these 4 persons having 4 different weight, you need to calculate their average as I calculated earlier. Either you can go with sum of these numbers and then divide by 4, or our special method what I discussed earlier, we can simply say this is minus 5, this is plus 2, this is plus 3. So together effect, no effect for these 3, but there is minus 36, there is a minus 4 for the last one, but that is not only for this person, but that minus 4 is distributed among these 4 members. So equally among the 4 members, then only we can call it as average. So that average, the effect of that minus 4, the resultant minus 4 on average is in such a way that we should distribute that minus 4 to 4 different person. So we can say minus 4 by 4 minus 1, and we can say instead of writing these 4 numbers, we can replace this number by a single number, and that number is called average. Here that number is 39. Now one more person in the right side. There is only one person. Okay, so you can ask her weight. She replies that he is 41 kilogram. That 41 kilogram is her weight, but only one person, then her weight is her average. So this is average of that particular single person. So average is 41. Here you know their average weight, which is equal to 42. That may be in such a way that this person's age is 42, then the other one's also 42. In real situation, it may not be like that. If it is 42, it is also 42. If he is 42, she is also 42. If he is 43, then that corresponding value is the plus 1 should be decreased value in the case of the second person. It will decrease at that time. So means if he is 43, she is only 41. Then only the average become 42 itself. If he is 45, that means if he is 3 weight more than that of our overall average, their overall average means the first person, the boy, he is 45, then the girl will be 3, that same 3 less, means that girl's weight should be equal to 42 minus 3. 39 will be your answer. So anyway, similar way we can find this average. So we know the average, which is 43 kilogram. Now my question is that, suppose you need to find average age of all students of this class, then what will be the procedure? I begin with the traditional way, in which 39 into 4 person, 39 into 4, sum of weight in this 4, plus 1 into 41 plus 2 into 42, 2 into 42 plus this is 3, so 3 into 43 at that time, divided by, this is the total weight, sum of weights. So that sum of weight divided by total number of person, 4 plus 1 5, 5 plus 2 7, 7 plus 3 10. So you will definitely get the answer. But here also we are using our variation method. For that I just assume again 40 as my answer for this question. So I assume 40 is my answer. If 40 is my answer, 1, 2, 3, 4, this 4 students weight is 1 less for each person, means towards the sum it will be minus 4 than that of average 40. So this is minus 4, this is only one person. So we can say one more for this one person. So plus 1. That case 2 person but 2 more. So 2 into 2 total 4 more plus 4. The last case 3 more but for 3 person than that of 40. So we can simply say it is equal to 3 into 3, 3 into 3, a total of 9 more. So here 9 more, here it is 4 more, here it is 1 more, here it is 4 less. Simply we can say 4 more here and 4 more here and 4 less here. These two may cancel each other. So there is no effect on that plus 4 and this minus 4, together 0. Here is an effect, 3 into 3, it is 9 more. It is 1 more. A total of 9 plus 1, 10 more. 10 more means plus 10, but that plus 10 is not in average. You know, we are considering all these persons weight. All these persons weight. So it is actually the variation in sum, not in average. So in order to find the variation in average, what we will do? We will distribute that more value to the entire team members. So we can say minus plus 10 distributed among, you can count the number, which is 10, so by 10. So simply we can say average, in the case of average, our assumption 40, but 1 more than that of our assumption. By just looking, we can say answer as 41. Even without writing these things, we can say answer as 41. So the average weight of these students is 41. This is the importance of our special variation method. If you know this method, then we can simply say the average of the team members in such a way that assume 40 as our answer, one person, one less than the average for these 4. So 1 into 4 minus 4, 1 more plus 1. There it will be 2 into 2, 4 plus 4, and earlier minus 4 with this plus 4 cancel, and last one 3 more for that 3 person, 3 into 3, 9 more. So 9 more, here 1 more. So 9 plus 1, 10 more in sum. You can distribute that 10 more to average for the entire team. So that means 10 members. So that value we can divide to 10 members. So plus 10 by 10, 1 you get, that one you can add to this number. So average assumption 40, 41 is our answer. Question number 1. Here the average weight of 20 boys is 50 kilogram and that of 15 girls is 46.5 kilogram. You need to calculate the average weight of all students of the class. So actually a simple question. The real procedure of solving this question is that 20 students weight 50. So sum is 20 into 50. And 15 girls weight is 46.5. So 15 into 46.5 is the sum. So this together produce the total weight. If total weight is known, that total weight should be distributed among that 20 plus 15 means total 35 members. So this is going to be our answer. I am not spending my time to solve this question. You can solve and we will get the correct answer. But this is competitive exam. For a competitive exam, this is not a good way. Instead, we need to go with some shortcut, as I discussed earlier. So let us assume that our answer is 50. We can assume any value as your answer. So I prefer a beautiful number among this range. So I prefer 50 as my answer. So I just assume that my answer is 50 in this question. So if my answer is 50, this is 50. The average weight of 20 boys is 50. There is no variation on that. But that of 15 girls, some variation be there. So we record the variation. Instead of recording the sum, instead of calculating the big sum, we are going with the variation. So I am just finding the variation. So that what is the variation here? Here you know, for that 15 girls, this is not the right way, this is the right way, 15 girls, it is only 46.5 means our assumption 50 is big. So the variation is in negative direction. So we can say the variation, we can calculate the variation as, here it is 3.5 is the variation, minus 3.5. So we can say minus 3.5 variation. So for each and every girl, such 15 girls are there. So we can say a total variation of 15 into minus 3.5. So this is a variation in sum. That variation in sum is actually affect the entire team. So you need to calculate average weight of all students of the class means average students of boys plus girls. This variation in girl side is affect the entire team. The overall average is lesser than that of our assumption only because of this value, this sum, this variation in sum. So we can say that some variation in sum distributed among total members. Total members is not only 15, it is 20 plus 15, 20 plus 15, 35. So distributed among that 35. So we can say on calculation, this is actually minus number 3.5 by 35. What will be that value? It is 10 times. Minus be there. But this 10 is given to this side, that is it will be minus 1.5. So that means our assumption is wrong. That means our assumption 50 is wrong, but it is less by this 1.5. So what will be your answer? Your answer will be 50 minus that same 1.5 means 48.5, and that is going to be our answer. 48.5 is in the second option, and that is the correct answer. To make the method as flexible as possible, you need to go through a special order. For getting that order, I am writing once more, sum, number, average. These are the three parameters involved in our question. Here the numbers, 20 boys plus 15 girls, total of 35 members. Average, here you know, boys side average is 50 and from girls side average is only 46.5. So you need to calculate the overall average. So for getting overall average, there are different methods, and the basic or the traditional way is that you can find the sum. You should find sum and then proceed to find average. So for that we go with the 50 into 20, 15 into 46.5 and take the sum, and that will be distributed among the 35 into question mark. From this case we can easily find out the question mark, and that will be the overall average. So instead of going with that method, I just assume that 50 as my answer. If you assume 50 as your answer, you should go in such a way that if this is 50, this is already 50, if this one is also 50, answer is also 50. That means if this 15 girls having weight 50, then answer definitely be 50. But actual case is not like that. So we record the variation in the left side. There is no variation from the boys side, but there is a variation of 15 girls with a variation of 3.5. Denote it in the left side in a negative direction. So that is why you need to put a minus sign also. And in right side it is 35 into, you need to record that variation, and if the variation is plus you need to add, if that variation is minus you need to subtract. So I just write that it has a variation sign V, symboled as V. So on simplification we get it as 10 here, and finally we get a 0.5 here, 1.5 here. This is actually a minus symbol, so minus 1.5, variation is minus 1.5 from our assumption 50. So final answer is 50 minus 1.5. So answer 48.5. This is the way. Question number 2. Here the average weight of 16 boys in a class is 50.25 and that of remaining 8 boys is 45.15. Find average weight of all boys in the class. So let us move with our special method. 16 boys for 50.25, 8 boys 45.15. I just assume 45.15 is the overall average. That 45.15 as overall average of the entire 8 plus 3, 16 plus 8, 24 members. So I can say if that's the case, then there is no variation produced by these 8 boys because they already have 45.15. But these 16 boys produce some variation. You can write the total variation, and the total variation is 16 into that is the variation is difference of the two numbers means 5.1. So the variation, total variation is 16 into that 5.1. But that total variation you should distribute it among the total members, then only it will be average. So distribute that 16 into 5.1 to 16 plus 8, total 24 members. You can simplify that 16 and that 24, which is 8 2s are, denominator is 3s are. So 2 by 3, you can instead of using that 16 boys and 8 boys, we can say simply its ratio of 2 boys and 1 boy. So we can simply say 2 boys, a variation of 5.1, and you should distribute it among that total number of person 3 person. So 5.1 by 3 is 1.7, and 1.7 into that 2 boys, so means 1.7 into 3.4. You need to add that for 45.15 with that 3 point, that what we will get 3.7. Sorry, 1.7 into 3.4. 3.4 plus this number is 48.55. This will be the answer. Once more I am explaining. Total some number average is the case where the numbers are 16 plus 8. Total number is 24. But there is no need of going with these big numbers. Instead we can say this is 2, this is 1 and this is 3. If you go with this number, then also you will get the correct answer. Then what is the need for going with this big number? There is no need of going with this 18 and 6. Instead, so 16 and 8. So instead we can go with the 2 plus 1 is equal to 3. And what is the corresponding average? So this one 50.25. For this one it is 45.15. You need to calculate this one. So I am recording the variation in sum. So this case, if there is a variation, we should fix first a number as our answer. For that, I fix that 45.15 as my answer. If 45.15 is my answer, then if this 50.25, instead of this 50.25, in place of this number, if we place 45.15, then answer is also 45.15. So up to that 45.15, there is no difference. Answer is also 45.15. But it's not like that. The original case is slightly vary from that. That variation I can denote. So that variation is called variation in sum. And that variation in sum is 2%, which is more by 5.1. 2%, 5.1. But you need to calculate the average for that 3%. So it should be divided among 3. So here it is 1.7 and 1.7 into 2 is 3.4 plus 3.4. That means your answer is more by 3.4 than our assumption. So our assumption is 45.15. So add that 45.15 and 35.15, okay, and 3.4. So you get 55, 48.55. So that is our answer. Question number 3. The average age of a class of 30 students is 18. When the teacher is included, the average becomes 19. What is the age of the teacher? So here also we should assume our teacher's age as 18 itself. So 30 students 18. If teacher is also 18, then the total age average will never be 19. It again be same as that of 18. But it is 19. That effect is only because of the presence of teacher. So teacher weight is more than that of 18. That is the only reason for the entire average become 19. So that is the hint. That is actually our variation method in triangle. So average of class of 30 students 18. So let us assume that 18 as our answer. Then there is no variation for that 18. But when teacher age is included, the average become 19. When teacher age is included, the average become 19 means the average of the entire class is one more because of the teacher. So one more for how many person? Actually, if teacher is included, 30 plus 1, 31 members are in the class. So for that 31 person, the average is increases by 1. So if you assume 18 as your answer, the increase in average is actually 1, but increase in average is responsible for that 31 person. So we can say 31 into 1 is the total variation. But in the case of the classroom case, in the case of this, the teacher will be responsible, only teacher will be responsible for the increment in average. So we should divide the sum, the more in sum. Actually, this is more in sum among the teacher, only in to teacher. So because only one teacher is here. So we can say 31 into 1 by 1 will be the total variation. So that variation is this one, and our assumption is 18. So our answer is actually 18. The teacher's age is 18 plus that 31. So you get answer as 49. So in this case, 49, first option will be the answer. I explain once more with the help of some writing. Some number average is the case. You know 30 students are initially there. This one is teacher and total 31 members. If average, the average is your 18. This is not 19. This is teacher's age, which is unknown. Let it be, let it put a question mark here. And this one is actually 19. So I just go with an assumption. You can assume either 19 as your answer, or you can even assume 18 as your answer. I am going with 18 as my answer. That assumption means I assume this teacher's age also be equal to 18, then answer is also 18. If this one is 18, this also be 18. But this one is not 18. As a result, this is not 18. This will going to 19. So what variation in this right side should be contributed from the teacher's side, or should be contributed the teacher's age? So we can simply say the teacher's age we don't know, but we are assuming that it has 18. We denote the variation in sum. So this side there is no variation. This side there is a variation, that is from teacher side, and that variation you don't know. So I put it as variation, one variation. That variation is only for teacher. And that variation in the right side, which it is very prompt, which is 18 plus 1 the variation, but that variation is for 31 members. So we can say 31 into 1 is the total variation. So the variation is 31, and we can say that variation variation is because of the teacher, but teacher already we assumed that 18, but this is the variation. So a total of 18 plus 19, sorry 18 plus this one is 31. So our answer, teacher's age 18 plus 31, 49. So that will be our answer, first option. Question number 4. A student's average test score on 4 tests is 78. What must be the student's score on a 5th test for the student's average score on the tests, on the 5 tests to be 80? So here also some number average, 4 tests average is 78. Fifth test is actually a single test. So you should denote it as 1. This is fifth test. You need to calculate that value. But the entire test means total 5 tests are there. You need to calculate this average, but you know the average score on the fifth test to be, student score on the fifth test for the student's average score for 5 tests to be 80. So that is 5 tests. That should be 80. So what should be this number? Definitely, if this number is also 78, answer is also 78. This answer is more than that of 78 only because of the more value is contributed from this unknown one test. Let us assume answer as 80 itself. Either you can assume 80, you can assume 78, you can assume 79, or you can assume any value, but for a convenience I take 80 as my answer. So I note the variations in sum actually. Here you know 2 less for this 4 tests. So 4 into 2 total 8 variation in a negative direction. So that is why I am writing it as minus 8. But you know if it is minus, we should shift it into right side, that will be plus. Or in another way, whatever be the variation inside, you need to get a big number than that of 80, then only we get a total 80. So whatever be the sign, finally it will be plus. Here I am writing a minus 8 since it is in left side. So plus 1 into V, we need to find that, and right side there is no variation, so we can say it is 0 variation. So 1V is plus 8. So our answer is 80 plus that variation. Since it is a 1V, there is no need to divide. If it is 2 purpose, if it is 2, you need to divide 8 by 2 and you get a 4 at that time, you need to add 4 at that time, only 4 at that time. Here it is for one person, so there is no need of any division, it is 8 itself plus 8 itself, so answer is 88. So answer to that question is 88 is in the fifth option. And once more, it is very clear, there is no need of writing these things. You can solve it in your mind, like you can assume even you can assume 78 as your answer. So we can say in 78 4 tests there is no variation, but overall case 5 tests are there. There is a variation of 2 on that 5 test. So we can simply say 5 into 2, 10 variation in a positive direction plus 10. So we get our overall answer 78 plus 10 at that time 88. Then also you get the same result. Question number 5. A class of 25 students took a math test. 10 students had an average score of 80. The other students had an average score of 60. What is the average score of whole class? So here total 25 students. 10 students are there, and the other students, the remaining students, that means remaining 15 students had an average score of 60. What is the average score of whole class? Here also there is no need of these big numbers, we can use ratio form. Total 5 students are there, that 5 students group can be split into group of 2 members and 3 members. That is the case. That is the some number case, some we don't know, number case. You know the average case, which is here average mark of had an average of 80. 10 students have 10 students is now replaced by this 2. So this 2 have an average of 80. The other one had an average of 60. So definitely overall averages lies in between these two numbers, and it will be equal to 2 into 80 plus 3 into 60 by 5. That is the basic method. Or even we can say 60 as our answer. Then what is the variation? 20 variation for this 2, 20 into 2 variation total, 40 variation total. That 40 variation distributed among that 5, 40 by 5, 40 by 5 is 8. So you can add 8 to that number, 68 will be your answer. Once more, let us assume 60 as your answer. So here it is more by 20, but that variation is in the average, variation in average is 20. Here you need to calculate the variation in average. We don't know that value. We don't know that value. So we get a sum by multiplying that number. Here nothing, there is no variation in this side. Here a total of variation of 2 into 20, total variation is 40. But in the right side it is 5% variation we need to calculate. We don't know that variation, but it is plus 40. So 8, we get that variation as plus 8. So 60 plus that 8, 68 will be answer. Now we are discussing one more case. This is the case for simple interest. You know, simple interest is I is equal to P into NR by 100. That NR by 100 I replaces with the I percentage. Actually that NR by 100 is interest percentage. So this principal you can add or subtract, but this interest percentage is not like that. It is not possible to add or subtract. But the entire triangle is applicable for our special method. For an example, we move with the question number 6. A finance company lends 60% of the sum at 15% per annum, 50% of the rest at sum at 10% per annum, and the rest at 18% per annum rate of interest. What would be the rate of interest if the interest is calculated on the whole sum? So here finance company lends 40%. So I interest principal into interest percentage is the topic. So you need to find the principal ratio. 40% of the sum at 15% per annum. So initially if you have 100 rupees, then 40% of the sum means rupees 40. If you have 100 rupees, 40% is actually 40 rupees. 50% of the rest, what is actually the rest? 40, the remaining should be the rest, and remaining is actually 60. And they said that 50% of the remaining means this number. 50% of the remaining means half of this remaining, which is 30. So now we left with the remaining 30. 50% of the rest at 10% per annum. So this is sum at 10% per annum, and rest at 18% per annum. Rest means this 30. This 30 at 18% per annum. This is the distribution of principal 40, 30 and 30. You can apply the simple form, simple ratio form 4, 3 and 3. Then the total is 4 plus 3 plus 3, it is 10. And also the rate of interest, 40% sum at 15% per annum, this is 15%, and this is 10%, and the last one 18%. So you need to calculate the overall interest. Here also you can apply the variation method, or even you can say 4 into 15, 3 into 10, 3 into 18 divided by 10 will be the overall answer. Similar way we can assume 15 as my answer, as our answer. Either you can assume 15, or you can assume 10, or you can assume 18, or you can assume any number. So just I follow with the 15. So 15, if the 15 is a variation, then here you can notice the variation in sum. For 3 it is less by 10, less by 5. So 3 into less, so minus 5. The next 3 it is more, but more by 3. So we can say it is 3 into plus 3 than that of 15. This variation should be distributed among that 10. So we can denote it as 10 variation. So overall we can take 3 as common, and minus 5 plus 3 comes there, minus 2 comes there, 3 into minus 2 comes there. So overall the sum is actually 3 into minus 2 minus 6, but minus 6 for 10 variation. So one variation is by 10, means 0.6, minus 0.6. Than that of 50, 50 minus 0.6 will be your answer. 50 minus 0.6 is 14.4. So Answer is 14.4. Where is it? It is in the first option. So answer is 14.4. Now we are going to discuss topic time and distance. Here the topic time and here speed. The importance of time is that we can add or subtract that position. But that importance is because of its inability to add or subtract. That means this position is not possible to add or subtract. Of course, this can add or subtract. So these two positions we can add or subtract. This position is not possible to add or subtract. And the problems may almost similar to that previous model. So we are going to discuss our question number 7. Here a person drives firstly at the speed of 60 km/h for 2 hours and he drives at 65 km/h for next 3 hours. Find average speed of his journey in km/h. So I denote it in triangle form. Distance, time, speed are the parameters of that triangle, where time you can add or subtract. So time here 2 hours first case, 3 hours second case. Then we can say the total time 2 plus 3 is equal to 5. There is no problem. And you know the speed, corresponding speed, first 2 hours the speed is 60, next 3 hours the speed is 65, then 60, 65, total is 125, but you should not write that 125. This is not possible to write 125 as 125 since it is not possible to add or subtract. Here I am adding that two numbers. That is actually restricted because of the logic behind our method. Now the distance we can find by multiplying these two numbers. So this is 120 distance, this is 185 distance, 65 into 3. So 180 plus 15, 195 is the total distance, and this is possible to find by adding these two numbers. So we get answer as 195 plus 120. So just take a 5 from here, 200 plus 115, 315. So that 315 distance traveled in 5 hours. Then the calculation of speed is very simple. Just divide distance by with the time. So distance by time is your answer. So 315 by 5 will be your answer. So in order to divide it with 5, just multiply numerator and denominator by 2. Then we can easily solve answer as 31 into 262 plus 163 will be the answer. So answer is third option. Now I am going to use our special method where we are focusing the variation. So just assume that in this question, the same question, I just assume that 60 as my answer. So if 60 is my answer, that means this 2 hours it traveled 60, that is true. Next 3 hours also it traveled same speed 60, that is just an assumption. If this is also 60, then my answer is definitely be 60 itself. But the actual case is not like that. So some variation occurs. Because of this variation, this value is more. Since this value is 5 more for 3 hours. So total distance variation, distance in variation or more in distance traveled. There is no distance more in this first case, so it is 0. Here it is more by a 5 for 3. So that means 5 into 3 is the total more in the left side. So that more should be distributed through for this 5 hours. So we can say it is equal to 5 into that variation. We don't know that variation. We can find that variation by simplification. So 5 cancel. V is getting as 3 means plus 3. So our plus 3 on the assumption, that means 60. That will be our answer. So our answer is 60 plus that 3, total 63. By using this special method, we can solve the question even without using pen and paper. Just assume that our answer from the question, it is here 60 is our answer. This 2 hours 60, there is no problem. If this 3 hours is also 60, then answer is also 60, but it's not like that. So that is the variation. So 5 variation for 3 hours, total 5 into 3, 15 variation. That variation distributed among the total hours. Total hours is 2 plus that 3 means 5. So total variation is 3. From that 60, answer is 63. That's the way we need to solve that question. Question number 8. Ram traveled for 30 minutes at 50 km per hour. For the other 20 minutes, he travels at speed 30 km per hour. For the next 60 minutes, he at a speed of 60 km per hour. Find his average speed for the journey. So here also I am using the spatial method. That means distance, time, speed method. So here the time, actually there is no need of taking time. You can follow, you can go with the time ratio. So the time ratio here, 30 minute, for first 30 minute, next 20 minute, and the last next 60 minute. So these are the time ratio, we can say. The ratio of 3, 2, and last one is 6. So the total time is 3 plus 2 plus 6, which is 11. Now speed, 30 minute hit speed is 50 km per hour. Next it is 30 km per hour. And last one, for next 60 km per hour, speed is 60 km per hour. Last 60 km per hour. So you need to calculate the overall speed. So let us assume that around this region, a beautiful number, let it be 50. So if 50 is my answer, then it is a variation of 20, minus 20 for that 2%, sorry, that 2% here, 2 hours time. And a plus variation is here for the 6 of 10, for this 6 hours with a plus 10. So a total of variation minus 40 plus 60 should be distributed among that 11 hours. So 11 variation should be right there. So this is minus 40 plus 60, you know, it is 20. So that 20 should be distributed among that 11, means the variation is 20 by 11. The 20 by 11 is simply 1, remaining is 9 by 11. So for getting our answer, we need to add 1 9 by 11 to our assumption. So answer is 50 plus that 1 9 by 11, 51 9 by 11, where is this 51 9 by 11 is in the first option, and that will be the correct answer. Now I am going to another topic. It is again time and distance, but the case of relative speed. In the case of relative speed, speed is in the left position. That means you can add or subtract the speed, and there is no possibility of adding or subtraction in the case of time. So time is not possible to add here, but speed is possible to add or subtract. So let us discuss 1 or 2 questions from that relative speed topic. Question number 9. The speed of a train is 69 km per hour, crosses a man standing on platform in 20 seconds, while a second train with speed 46 km per hour opposite direction takes 15 seconds to cross the same man. Find time taken to cross each other. So in this question, you can simply say, you can go with the distance, time, speed, but the speed is in the second position. Speed, time. That means you can add or subtract that speed. That is the speciality of this question. Now, here speed of train 69 km per hour. So you can write that 69 here. Cross a man standing on platform 20 seconds. So time you can write here 20 seconds. While a second train with the speed 46. So you can write that second speed, which is 46. This is 46. Now opposite direction takes 15 seconds to cross the same pole. Okay, that's good. And find time taken to cross each other. If they need to cross each other, the train, then the relative speed will be sum of the 2 speeds. If they are in opposite direction, that sum we need. If they are in same direction, then at that time they say not crossing. They usually says that they overtake the other. The train, first train overtake the, or the faster train overtaking the slower train. So at that case, we need the higher speed. So at that time, you need to subtract that 2 cases. in this case you need to add these two cases, these two speeds. So we can simply say the total speed of sum of these two speeds, or even we can say we can move with the ratio of these corresponding speeds. That means we need only speed ratio. We can use that speed ratio as here it is 2:3. So you can use either 69 and 46, or you can go with the ratio 3:2. There is no problem. So the total time taken is 5. Sorry, total speed is 5 at that time. So anyway, actual case is that we need to find distance traveled by the first train while crossing that train a man. So that means that length is actually, that distance is actually length of that train. So this you can calculate, this is length of first train. This you can again calculate, this is length of the second train. So time taken to overtake means L1 plus L2 is the total distance by total time, sorry, total speed. That means 69 plus 46 at that time. So that's the usual procedure for solving that question, but I am not going with that usual procedure. If you go with that usual procedure, then it is quite difficult, because that L1 is equal to 69, the original number 69 into that time taken is 20 seconds. 69 is actually kilometer per hour. So 69 into 5/18 meter per second into that 20, that will be the L1. And you can also find L2, and we need to add L1 plus L2. So we can find the L2. For finding L2, 46 into 5/18 into that 15 seconds. That is the total length. That means total length of that two trains. So divided by the total time taken, total speed you need to take, because the sum of speed will be the relative speed at that case where these two trains cross each other. So we can add these two numbers, 60 plus 40, 100, and 15 will be that number. And you need to take a 5/15 here also. On solving this lengthy calculation results in our answer. Instead of going with this method, we are going with a shortcut method. That means this is 3, this is 2, total 5. And also assume that this is our answer. That means if this one is also 15, you get answer, your answer is 15 itself. If this is more, it is also more. That case is here. This is what more? This is 3 speed, more by 5. So 3 into 5, a total of 15 more, and that should be divided among that 5. So we can simply say it is more by this 3. So let us take that 3 as more from the assumption. Here assumption is 15. So 15 plus 3, 18 will be the correct answer. So answer is very simple, 18. Let's just one more time. I will discuss one more time. So this is 69, this is 46 from the question itself. So you can take it as ratio 3, this is 2. If opposite direction, you need to add. So that means that 3 plus 2, total 5. You need to find this time. You know this is 20 and this one is 15. Let us assume all are 15. This is 15. If this is also 15, answer is also 15. But not like that. This is more by 5, 4, 3. So we can simply say 5 more 4, 3. That should be distributed among this 5. So 5 more 4, 3 distributed, and the answer is 15 plus 3. Answer is 18 seconds. Question number 10. The speeds of a train is 80 km per hour cross a pole in 12 seconds. While a second train with speed 60 km per hour, same direction, takes 10 seconds to cross the same pole. Find time taken to overtake. The only difference between this question and the previous question is this statement. Here you need to overtake. In the previous question, you need to cross these two trains. So we can say the same logic, distance, speed, time. Speed here we can add or subtract, but here you need to subtract. And you can say the speed, higher speed 80, in the second lower speed 60, then difference is 60 minus 80 minus 60, which is 20. Even you can solve with the help of this ratio. There is no need to go with this original number. You can take ratio. Now I am not going with the ratio because this number itself be very simple. So 80 minus 60 is equal to 20. The time taken, first case cross a pole in 12 seconds, and second case it is 10 seconds. So you need to take this time. The real method is that you need to find the 80 into 5 by 18 meter per second. Now it is in meter per second speed into 12. This is actually our L1, and our L2, this is our L2, 60 into length of second train, 60 into 5 by 18 into 10. Actually there is a minus sign, so we need to put a minus sign there. But you need to understand that whether this speed is minus or plus, in order to calculate the distance, the total distance while overtaking or while crossing, when they are in same direction or when they are in opposite direction, the distance you need to add always. So irrespective of this sign, we need to add these two distance. So always that distance you need to add. If two trains cross each other, we simply say if these two trains are crossing each other, then we need to travel the length of these two trains. And also while one train is here and other train overtake the first train, then also the distance travelled is equal to distance 1 plus distance 2, length of first train plus length of second train. That is very important. So this is always be plus irrespective of this sign. So that is very important. So we need to add these two, even there is a minus sign, we need to add these two length. So total distance need to travel is sum of that L1 plus L2, and we get that L1 plus L2 as this sum. Now what you need, we need to find the time taken. You know, time taken is distance travelled by total speed. What is the total speed? Total speed in this case we should not add, instead we need to subtract, and we get it as 20. So we need to write that 20 into that 5 by 18. On solving this one, we will get definitely the answer. But I am going with another way. That means I just assume that this 10 is our answer. So this 60, no change. This 80, you know, there is a change of 2. So we can write that 80, a change of 2. For this 80, a change of 2. Now this is the change, this is the difference. We can say one problem we are facing in this case is that if you go with that, this is actually in a negative direction. So that means if you need to add this distance, that means 80 into 12 here, 60 into 10 here, this should be added. So that added is possible only when this sign is negative. So we should place that, we should put a sign for the time in such a way that the distance is positive. Otherwise this go will not produce the result. So in the special case, where they are overtaking or they are in same direction, whatever be the sign, what is the sign for speed, you should put that same sign for time also. Then only we can go with that. So concluding my result, this is minus, then this sign also be minus, then only we can use our special method for solving this type of question, since the total distance is positive. Or you can go with this direction or go with this way, you can easily find out the answer. Also you can go the assumption method, but here the assumption method is not suitable because these two numbers are very they are apart a big number 22. So that's not good. The best way for solving this question is like this one, but you know this one may take more time. So I simplify this one. Once more I explain how to solve this question effectively. So just take distance, speed, time, and you know speed ratio we need, yeah, 80, and here it is 60. You can write it as 4:3, 4:3, same direction. So 4 minus 3 equal to 1, simple way. You can take the time, you need to find the time, so you should not take the time ratio, instead you need to take the original time here 12 seconds and there it is 10 seconds, this is time you need to calculate. If it is minus, then only the logic is clear, so you can put the negative sign there, or even if you are not putting the sign, while taking the distance, you need to add that to distance, whatever be the sign. So the distance ratio 12 into 4, 48, and it is 30. Actually it is minus 30, but this is also minus, so that is overall it is plus 30. Now the case is very simple, 40 plus 30, the total distance is 40 plus 30, 48 plus 30, it is 78. 40 plus 30, 70 plus 8, 78. That 78, you have only one ratio or one speed, so you can easily calculate the time taken, 78 by that 1. So answer is 78, first option is the answer. So for solving this question, there is no need of writing these things, instead we can simply say if 80 is here, 60 is here, ratio 4:3, 4 minus 3, 1. That one you need to calculate, that one you need to calculate. This time is here, time is 12 seconds and second time is 10 seconds. So what is the total distance? That is the total distance is, in ratio it is 48 plus 30, 78. So 78 in 1 hour, so 78, actually here the unit is meter per second, whatever be the unit, that is not a matter, whatever be this one, you get answer in that unit. This is ratio and this is corresponding ratio, so that two ratio cancel each other. There is no need to go, there is no need to worry about the units. These are only ratios, but you need to correctly write this ratio, not ratio, correct value. This is 12 seconds, this is 10 seconds, then this should be in seconds. So our answer is 78 seconds. That's all. You should try more and more questions based on these topics, and you can apply this method in almost all topics like time and distance, time and work, even it is possible in profit and loss, and so many topic we can apply the same logic. So try to solve maximum number of questions in minimum time. We can solve maximum number of questions in minimum time. That's the speciality of our method. So please do questions. Thank you very much.